r/ask Reddit. I spent 5 years thinking I was being haunted. It turned out I was just schizophrenic. Ask me anything. I saw demons in my room as night when I was a kid. Would hear the ghosts talking to me and telling me to do things. Sometimes I would think I was possessed and wouldn't talk or move for days. Lots of fun stuff like that. It's nearly 11:30 and I'm ready to crash. I'll answer more in the morning or later tonight if I can't sleep. Can you describe the voices? Are they mean, evilish sounding, telling you to do bad things? Do you ever see or hear good voices? I hear two kinds of voices. One set tells me to do thing. They don't sound evil, but they feel really dark and angry and bad to me. The other set is more benign. They don't tell me to do things. Sometimes aren't talking to me at all. It's like overhearing chatter in a crowded restaurant. Those kinds of voices aren't really good, just neutral. What would it tell you to do? For example, run, keep moving, never stay in one place too long. I spent years traveling on buses because of it. Or they'd try to convince me to kill myself. The bad guys were going to catch up to me anyway. It was better to give up now. That kind of thing. I worked with a young girl who had hallucinations like yours. We'd go for long walks with her clinging to my arm whimpering, "But I don't want to die." I'm glad you're doing better now. I can't imagine the hell you lived through before. If you were to ask the voices a question, would they answer you? One might, the others just taunt me. Just to check, the voices are indistinguishable from real sounds. Other than maybe you don't see anyone talking, it feels like your ear is hearing them. Yes. Do you think if it were 50,000 years ago, you would be elevated to medicine man of your tribe, since you can see and speak with spirits? That's a scary thought. It's an awesome thought. The demons you saw, were they like shadowy figures? Because I've had that a few times. Like I've woken up and sworn someone was sleeping on the couch, and I can see their figure clearly, but I knew it must have been in my head, so I ignore it. Who would break into a house and nap? Oh, and how old are you? Were the voices always easy to understand? I've heard this voice about 3 or 4 times during my life. That freaks the shit out of me, but I can't understand it. It's like a voice that's slowed down and kind of pulsing. First heard it when I was about 9. Dark figures, made out of black smoke. I'm 28. I don't remember the first time I heard voices, but they were always easy to understand. I think it's something that sounds different to everyone. It could be worth talking to a doctor about if it's affecting how you live your life. Did you self-diagnose yourself or did a doctor tell you? Doctors, many of them, some in psychiatric hospitals. It took a while before I really believed they were right. What made you see a doctor in the first place? In other words, when did it get so bad that you knew you needed professional help? There have been a lot of really bad times, but what got me to get serious about taking my meds and sticking with treatment was my parents sobbing in front of me and begging me to take it seriously. I suddenly realized what I'd been putting them through for years and overwhelming guilt came over me. It's been 7 months now. I've never stuck with it this long before. Edit, I just wanted to rewrite this because it wasn't just my parents. I spent years before that traveling back and forth across the country on Greyhound trying to keep my demons from finding me. I was homeless. I didn't have a lot of money. I fought with myself frequently over the thought of suicide, and it seemed no matter where I went I couldn't escape from it. It was guilt and the fact that I was so tired that really drove me to take the help I was offered. I've never stuck with it this long before. Why did you stop treatments and taking your meds before? A lot of times it was money. Other times I thought I was better and didn't need the pills anymore. I thought it was all just my imagination running away with itself. Sometimes I was suspicious of the people who were giving them to me. I thought there were people my demons had possessed and the drugs were to make me easy for them to catch. I had all sorts of excuses for going off treatment. I may have missed it. Are you male or female? Has it ever caused problems in interpersonal relationships? I haven't had many personal relationships that lasted more than 2 or 3 months. That was about the maximum amount of time I'd be able to stay in one place. I'm female. And now? Now I'm cautious. New people freak me out a little. I still have to go through the "this is not a demon" stage. Honestly, I try to avoid other people as much as possible. It's too exhausting for me. Did you have a particularly religious upbringing at all? It was pretty religious. Not crazy religious, but my parents made us attend Sunday school, vacation Bible school, that sort of stuff. Would you say that the apparitions that appeared took on traditionally biblical appearances? I mean, did they appear to you in a form that was similar to descriptions of demons, etc. within Christian texts? Also, did you ever experience sleep paralysis in the midst of all this? I don't know if my demons fit the biblical descriptions. Despite going to church and Sunday school and all, I wasn't interested enough to learn much about the religion. I've never suffered from sleep paralysis. Sorry for all the questions. This is just a very interesting topic for me. Thank you for doing this. You said above that the voices told you to keep running, etc. and that people were after you. Did the voices ever explain why? Did certain voices have specific traits or any sort of personality of their own? Like, something that was definitely separate from your own? Did they ever encourage you to do mundane things? Or were all of their suggestions always on a large scale? If I didn't run, the demons would catch me. If the demons caught me, my life would be such hell I'd wish I were dead. That's the best I can describe it. Things weren't explained. It was stuff I just knew. The voices remind me of Croup and Vandermeer from Gaiman's Neverwhere. They're just bad guys and they enjoy a good chase. Can you compare your hallucinations to some portrayals of hallucinations on TV? Often there's loud, distorted audio, blurred, tilt-shifted video, and brightness and contrast all over the map. Was it anything like that, or did you just see a demon, plain as day? It's just there, hiding in the shadows or whatever. There aren't any dramatic effects like in the movies. Fascinating. So you would never see something clearly, like the way Jennifer Love Hewitt sees a ghost. You would just see a hint of a shape or a movement which your brain interprets as something scary? I don't get strong visual hallucinations the way I do auditory ones. Once in a while I'll see something clearly, but most of the time it's shadowy and undefined. Are there any bad side effects to your medicines? Noticeable weight gain and an incredibly low sex drive. I get annoyed and angry a lot easier, and I want to sleep all the time, but usually can't, so I'm always tired. Does it help you to talk about it, or does it make it worse? It kind of helps to talk about it. My family doesn't really understand it and I don't have many friends, and it just gets tiresome talking to psychiatrists and therapists. When you say kid, how young? Most people don't get schizophrenia until they're adolescent. I've childhood onset schizophrenia is what my doctor thinks. My problems started when I was 8. It's rare though for a child to develop it, and I have a really difficult time remembering life before 13. So all we've really got to go on is how my parents remember my behavior, based on their memories. I probably did have something going on back then. Are your delusions lucid? Or if you're off medication or whatever, do you believe in them? Yes, I believe in them when I'm off my meds. Do you think reading this, if you theoretically stopped taking your meds, would help convince you otherwise? I hope so. It's a good thought. Hey, I've had the same experiences as you, but luckily I had treatment. The most similar delusion I had to you was when I thought I made a deal with the devil and was going to go to hell. I seriously saw the devil on a subway. He was a bald guy with a mustache. It kind of felt like a dream. Do you feel slightly dizzy or dreamy when you see your demons? I find your medicines to work well, and also Lamictal and lithium. Do you think you might be bipolar as well? Do you have mood swings? I know your experience sounds very interesting to others, but I know it's hell to go through, and it takes years of treatments to get better, and you have to be 100% consistent with taking your meds, every day without exception. Dizzy and dreamy, yes, and overheated, like I'm having some sort of hot flash. I might be bipolar, I don't really know. I do get awfully mood swings. It sounds like you're doing better these days. Do you willingly watch horror/scary movies? No way. What's the difference between internal monologue and hearing voices? You hear the voices with your ears. It's an actual sound, unlike an internal monologue that just stays in your head. Thank you for replying to so many of these questions. It is truly fascinating. I'm sure it may be difficult to answer some of these. On that note, I have a few questions of my own, but the decision is yours if you would like to answer them or not. Do these voices tell you anything about some of these questions or comments you are receiving, anything about certain users or this thread in general? I have had some trouble with some of the comments. The ones where people decided to mess with me and try to tell me that I'm psychic or whatever. The voices had fun with that. It wasn't a huge deal. I expected at least a few responses in that direction. Anything about what I just asked you? I would have answered sooner but was having some problems. They think answering you was a bad idea. Whoa, you made it to the end? You're a ducking beast. I'll cut you a deal. Smash like and subscribe for more curated content. It's free and that's a great price.